Hi everyone, Rad Drew here. Topaz just released their next version of Sharpen AI 4.0.2, and it has some really great features in it, making an already wonderful tool even better. So I wanted to show you with a quick video some of the things that I really like about it. So this is the Sharpen AI interface. I already have it open on my desktop. And I'm going to go over and grab a file from another folder. Notice I can just drag and drop it right into the workspace. That's nothing new. It's always been that way. Um, and it's going to take a second to bring it into the interface because it's a raw file. And there it is. And for this demo, I'm just going to set this down here to fit on the screen so we can see the whole image. So a couple of things, first of all, if you're familiar with this already, you know about these views up here. You can look at a single view. You can look at a split view, which is one I like, where you can actually slide back and forth and see before and after. And you've got a side-by-side view, but one I wanted to show you here is the comparison view. And what that's allowing you to do, if you come over here to this panel, you'll notice the sharpen models. And if I open this up, I'm sorry, let me turn that off. If I change the sharpen models, they've added some to it. That basically what it's doing is looking at the different kinds of, looking at your image and deciding which kind of blur or out of focus or noisy situation you have. So again, this is artificial intelligence and machine learning, working, doing what it does best, assessing that image. And then when you click on the button here, it's going to make a recommendation for what it thinks is the best. Now, sometimes you may want to override that. And one of the ways that I like to do that, if you come up here to the comparison mode, I'm going to click on comparison view and watch what happens here. It shows me 4 different panels, so I can compare 4 different models at once. So you notice over here on the left, the sharpening model it just finished. It turned green. The out of focus model is now running. And what it's going to allow me to do then is compare these different models and see if there's one I prefer over the other. Once you've looked at these, maybe you want to try a different model that isn't up here already. Well, to do that, you can only look at 4 at a time, right? So to do that, you would select the panel you want to replace. So if I want to replace out of focus normal, maybe with motion blur, very noisy or something. So I'll click in that panel and then I'll come up here and choose motion blur, very noisy, pops that one in, and now it's going to run that. So now I can go back and forth and look at each of these and decide if I prefer one over the other. Very cool tool and helps with getting the best model for your image. I'm going to go back to the split view here, and I'm going to go ahead and select the automatic situation here, and it assesses it. It tells me the standard model is best for this image, and I'm going to go with that. You can do the same thing down here with model parameters. If I turn that off, you notice it's looking at different types of blur. So you have motion blur. So if you or the subject are moving, it will help correct that kind of blur. And maybe it's a lens blur issue. And so it will correct that kind of blur as well. The automatic setting up here, when you click on that, again, it's going to assess the image. In this case, it says, hey, motion blur is the best type here. And we think sharpening at 22, noise suppression at 28, and then removing artifacts at 49. Now, you notice this is Sharpen AI, right? But it's also looking at noise in the image as well. Just like Denoise AI, which is their other companion product for removing noise, it's primarily a noise reduction tool, but it also will sharpen your image. So these tools, they do both things. They just are predominantly one or the other. I often use them in combination because they're using artificial intelligence. If you denoise or sharpen with one of the apps, the other app is going to recognize that when it assesses the image. So you're not necessarily going to over sharpen or remove too much noise just because you've used both tools. I find that I get a good result using both. But anyway, so can you override these? Absolutely. Just you can slide if you want more sharpening or back it off, or maybe you want more noise reduction, so on. I'm going to stick with the automatic settings here, and it is very, very smart most of the time. Rarely do I override it. The thing I wanted to show you here is this selection item right here. When I tap, well, if you click on the question mark, it shows you, it allows you to apply sharpening to specific parts of your image. So it's allowing you to create a mask, or actually creates it for you. So if I come over here and click on the little button here, it's going to automatically read that image, and it's created a mask for this part of the image. So what that means is it's running, it just sharpened this part, but not the sky. Now, if I go into the refine tool here, I can actually see the mask now. And you notice it did a pretty good job of finding the edge, but it's not perfect. So what I'm going to do is go up here to get my brushes. I'm going to choose the subtract brush, and I'm going to adjust my brush. So I don't know, maybe that's too big, right in there somewhere. I want to have edge aware on, and I want it I want the opacity up, because I want to fix that edge. So all I'm going to do is come down here along that edge, and I'm just holding my mouse down as I drag along the edge, and I'm going pretty fast here. You might take a little more time with your image. When I release the mouse, it's gone in and patched things up. Now, I went so fast, I didn't get a good edge. So I'm going to go back to add here, make my brush a little smaller, and I'm just going to come in here and add in the mask on that part that I missed. And again, if I had gone a little slower the first time, I wouldn't be going back to patch this up. But you can see how quickly and easily you can go in and get a very, very clean edge to correct anything that the auto masking missed. And that looks pretty good. And again, just all I'm doing is holding my mouse down to fill in those areas. And then when I release my finger, it does the calculation and refines the edge. That looks pretty good to me. Maybe there's a little spot over here. So now each time I finish that up, it's running automatically. I have it set to run automatically. You can actually set it to where you have to click a button to make the update run, which is up in your settings. But there's our mask now, where exactly the way we want it. Now I'm going to go down here and update this with the mask on it. And here's the progress bar down here. It's running. As soon as it's green, it's done. So let's just look. It's hard to see it in the original size or the fit to screen size. So let's increase this to 200% so we can really see. It's going to run again. Anytime you move the image or resize the image, it has to render the image again. And it's just taking a second here. And there it's turning green and it's done. So now let's move the slider here. There's before and there's after. Now that's a really remarkable difference. I mean, it's really cleaned up, and the noise and the sharpening in this rock face here, but it hasn't affected our sky. Our sky is still noise free and creamy and looking really good. So at that point, I'm done here. I can go ahead and save the image, and you can choose to preserve the source format, or you can choose a different format. I usually switch to JPEGs. You want to make sure your quality is high. You can give it a name here if you want, of whatever you choose. And then you can either change the color profile or leave it the same. I typically, I'll just leave it the same. I know I'm using Adobe RGB, but you may have a different preference. Here, if you don't change the source, it will put the file back into the same folder that it came out of. If you want to send it someplace else, you would choose a custom location, and then you would just navigate to that area and save it there. That's it. Now, this will work as a plugin to Lightroom and Photoshop. I use it as a plugin to the Topaz editor called Topaz Studio, and it works virtually the same way here. That's everything I wanted to show you. I think it's a really good tool, and it's just gotten better. If you find that you are interested in it, either to buy it for the first time, or maybe you're ready to upgrade your license to get the latest update, You can use my link and code for an additional 15% off the sale price. So it usually is 79. It's on sale for 59, and then take 15% off of that. So your cost ends up being down around $50. So it's a great time to get the software using the code when it's on sale. And so I'll share my link and my code in the description, in the YouTube description with the video. So thank you for watching. I really do appreciate those of you who watch my videos. And when you use my link and code, not only do you get a discount, but I also earn a small commission. So for that, I thank you very much. So thanks for watching today. And until next time, keep on creating.